Okay, Survivor fans, we are just a few weeks away from the finale of season 37, David versus Goliath. So we thought we would have a little, a little tribal council of our own. I'm here with Susan and Matt, and I'm Marcus, and we're just going to talk about the season so far and who we think could actually win this thing. As of right now, there are 8 people left in the game. We have 4 Davids, we have 4 Goliaths. Who wants to go first? Matt, I'll just come to you. What did you think of the big 2-hour episode that was just a couple days ago? We got rid of Alec and we got rid of Carl.
Well, in some ways, the 2 episodes beforehand were 2 of the most exciting episodes in Survivor history, with the first ever nullifier being played, with I think 3 idols being played, with a vote still being played. The Davids flipping the numbers, able to knock out 2 Goliaths, even being down, and split votes, and all these things happening. So, relatively, you could say these 2 episodes were not at the high, not quite at that level of the 2 before. But boy, this is such an incredible season. These 2 episodes were also incredibly compelling, and if not for the 2 weeks before, would be probably 2 of the most exciting episodes of any other Survivor season. So I thought they were great. And I think what was really interesting was the Davids were able to get the numbers advantage for the first time. I think for the first time in the season, actually get ahead of the Goliaths in numbers, only to then level the scores again, where we really, for the first time since the Elizabeth vote, the wheels really fell off the wagons for the Davids, in a sense.
Right. Susan, what did you think? Did they make a mistake by losing the advantage like that?
Who, the Goliaths?
Well, because the Davids, after they voted out Alec, the Davids had 5-4, and then they voted out Carl, so now it's even 4-4 again.
Right. No, it is. It is stupid, but that's what we want. They think they know, and they always overcompensate with trying to, you have to watch out for the people you know and the people you're not part of. And you have to balance that out, because you can't, didn't Gabby say she's worried about being too close to Christian now? So,
yeah.
And they're the closest alliance. So I don't know what's going to happen there. If she doesn't stop crying soon, I'm going to start crying. But I will say my favorite moment was Christian. I think he's fascinating. I don't even know what he's talking about half the time. And the fact, it was like the Passion of the Christ, and that's his name, and that he won this physical challenge and bored Carl to death to make him give up was just fantastic. I'm glad we didn't see the whole, where'd you go?
Oh, we lost Marcus. Oh, well, that's all right. Continue, Susan. Continue.
Oh, okay.
Marcus, I'm sure will join us again.
I'm sure he took offense at something I said. Yeah. So, but I think, that Christian, someone who wouldn't be expected to hang in there the longest, would do that was amazing. And using his verbal command to as a weapon is kind of cool. So that was my favorite moment in the show, I think. So it was worth it to watch him do that. I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad they didn't show all 6.5 hours or whatever they lasted.
Alec was so cocky on that perch. He was just like, he thought he had that. So I was
he did. Yeah. And he got dizzy. He was seeing things.
Hallucinating. So great.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say, Alec was like a boxer ending the ring. He knew he was down. He knew he was the target for the vote that night, and knew he had to pull out a win. And you saw Christian, probably the biggest sort of underdog of all the Davids, pull it out over him. It was one of the most epic challenge moments in Survivor history. And I say that as someone who probably is a bit more interested in the strategy than the challenges of Survivor usually. It was just beautiful to watch. And yeah, I think he bored Alec with his regaling of facts and stories. But I also think that the more I heard him talking, the less I felt like he was going to be dropping off. Like he seemed more comfortable. It really
relaxed. He relaxed.
Right.
Yeah, it would get in my head going, boy, this Christian guy, not like, when is he going to stop talking? But it's sort of, when is he going to drop? It seems like he's sort of in his groove. And I think it really like made Alec think, boy, I don't think I can go another 2 hours like up here, especially with it seemed like he was feeling a bit sick earlier in the day too.
Yeah.
I don't know though if Christian was talking as a strategy or if he was just talking because that's who he is.
He had to do something to take his mind off whatever he was feeling.
That's true.
And I noticed his shirt was torn, sort of like, again, a Christ figure, you know. Like, I don't think he has a bad
standing up there on the cross. Yeah.
I also, Carl was the stupidest. You don't take, especially nachos. That's you know, and beer. I mean, that's not enough nutrition right there for anything. And he was just so cocky that he thought he could sit out. Angelina or whatever her name is could sit out. And, you know, Nick was fine because I don't think, you know, they were going to vote him out right away. Yeah. But, you know, but Carl just was stupid to do that.
Is Carl winning this challenge, though? Like, I know Jeff is always like, Carl, this could be $1 million decision. I don't think Carl was winning this. Like, I don't think, like...
That's a good point.
I don't see Carl going
it's also for optics. You don't not do it. Then you're cocky, and then you get some, you know, they put a X on your back.
I do agree.
I asked Carl, I interviewed Carl the day after he was voted out for Gold Derby, and I said, you know, do you regret eating the nachos? I mean, you probably couldn't have lasted on that perch for 6 hours. He's like, there's no way he would have lasted.
But again, I think when you give up, that sends a signal that you think you're
that's
safe.
A good point.
Yeah.
And so even if he fell off, it would have been better. So
I do think it's contextual and it's how you carry yourself with it too. Like there are times where like it has probably helped people in the past on Survivor by sitting out of a challenge because it makes them maybe seem like, oh, they've given up. They seem less of a threat. They're not a big challenge competitor. That's going to reflect poorly on them against the jury. And I can take it like, you know, it can show some weakness that could be an asset for others' games, but it also has been the death of people who have either need to stay in or it has, as Jason presented, a cocky attitude that have rubbed people the wrong way and made them take a blow. So I think it can go either way. I do agree. It did not reflect particularly well on Carl, but I don't think that is the thing that undid his game.
Right.
I think
they were just, like, you know, being called the Godfather. That's it was right. But he thought he was running the show, and it's like, who told you that? You know?
Yeah, and look, like it was his like his big mistake was in how he managed Gabby, and was how he was sharing his plan with Cara. And not telling Cara the plan before he told Gabby the plan on the first vote, and then the second week him trying to completely leave someone in his alliance out of the decision making and process. The best Survivor alliances will come up with who they're voting out via consensus and not a dictatorship. And it was
they should have had a meeting with the 5 of them and just said, you know, Gabby, I know that you like this girl Allison, but would you be open to voting her out instead of just lying to her and saying they're voting out Angelina? And then, of course, she's going to find out the truth. There's only 9 people on this island.
and what was so strong about the David's game the week before was all 5 of them sat together. They shared their advantages and they talked it through. Like maybe you want to be relying on the collective wisdom of your alliance at this point in the game. And you want maybe they give Gabby an opportunity to say, no, I think we should vote out someone else for this reason. We should vote out we should vote out Cara for this reason. Hear her out, have that discussion as a group, and then come up with the decision. Maybe Gabby won't get away, maybe you won't get your way, but it was just such Like, I think Carl played a shocking game in trying to tell people.
Well,
like,
he could run for the Supreme Court given his beer intake, I'll tell you that.
That's great.
But Angelina bugs the heck out of me.
Oh, I love her.
Okay, she majored in negotiations, and I don't know what was there, but she's a bad negotiator because you don't put out the fact that you give away your comfort stuff and your fishing gear and all that too. You just say, we need some rice, but don't they give them rice? They're not going to starve them, because then that would be a very boring game if everybody's falling over, fainting from hunger. So, you know,
my question is
what school she went to, but people shouldn't go there.
So she offers all this stuff to Jeff, and Jeff's like, well, actually, I want someone to start the challenge. Did Jeff then take all that stuff? I don't think that was made clear. I don't think he actually did take all the stuff she was
all that stuff was out there, though. I don't know.
Yeah, like it seemed like
it was ready to be taken away. I don't know.
I don't think I don't know. I think he just took. I don't think he took the stuff. Would be my like, just from the way it was edited and the way he spoke, it sounded like he was providing an alternate, not an additional offer. But hard to say.
Yeah.
So we have 4 Davids left. We have Christian, Gabby, Davey, and Nick. And of those 4, Matt, who do you think has the best shot of winning? I know you wrote this article about Nick, and then all of a sudden in this 2-hour episode, Nick was hardly even in it.
Yeah.
He found an idol. That was
That's
sort
true,
of Nick's
one
big
that was weird. Walking at night, don't they have animals in those islands? I'd be afraid of them.
I think they have wild chickens.
Yeah, they got
okay. Those could be dangerous. Yes.
Yeah. You got to be you got to be daring. That's what the clue said. You got to be daring if you want the idol. So I wrote about Nick this episode. The one good thing for Nick, he found an idol, so that's good. That's something that can come into use for him, give him some power in the game moving forward. The real bad thing for Nick was he was really on the Davey Carl side of the vote. He was in the minority on that last vote.
Mm-hmm.
Things are just very splintered at the moment this episode. You had Angelina broke off from the Goliaths, and you had Christian and Gabby break off from the Davids. So to quote the last couple of weeks episodes, the lines have been blurred. I still like Nick of the Davids though, and it's partially because I feel like Nick is the most connected person in the game. He's working, so he's in this last vote, he's working with Davey. He is Davey's closest ally now with Carl out of the game. So Nick is well positioned with Davey. He's got the Mason Dixon alliance with Christian, so maybe he's still got an in there with Christian. It's really Christian, like, unless Nick is so upset with Christian's vote that he cuts him off. But if Nick is happy to keep working with Christian, I think there's things there. He is with Mike. He's closely working with Mike as a rock star. That can be reignited. Mike's in some ways a bit of a free agent at the moment. He's not got any super close allies in the game. And I guess like the Angelina started working with Davey, Carl, and Nick. So Angelina might be close with Davey. She might be close with Nick, but yeah, they all voted together on that last vote. So I sort of feel like Nick has the most options moving forward out of everyone, and is the one who probably has the least bridges burned. It's funny, for the guy who's probably made the most secret named alliances, he's probably lied to or backstabbed less people than anyone else in the game.
But he's laid back. He's not in anyone's face. He's a very pleasant person.
Yeah. He's got the Southern charm.
And so they kind of overlook him because they just don't, get bothered by him like Carl, And
imagine him in the final jury. He'll be, I had the rock stars. I had the Mason Dixon. I had the thoroughbreds.
Right.
I found an idol. I found a vote. Like he is under the radar, but he's got some moves.
How is he on challenges? He's not bad on challenges, right? He's not
he's
unfit.
Yeah, like
in one of the deleted scenes, Nick took credit for the John Hennigan elimination, and he basically said, you know, I'm playing up this dumb Southern angle. I'm really not dumb, but I'm playing that up, and it seems to be working for him. I think if he's in the finals, he's going to get a lot of jury votes.
Yes.
Yeah, and if he can tell that story like he did in that confessional to the jury, that's going to be a very compelling story.
Well, he's probably the only one who hasn't really tipped anyone off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Which you thought going into the merge, Nick, boy, how's he going to manage this Rockstar alliance, this Mason-Dixon alliance, like all these things, like, and he has.
Yeah.
He's like the sort of insanity come from other people. Like,
well, who you think is going to be out next?
Ooh, I don't know. It keeps switching.
Kara is annoying too, but Angelina is annoying. But you want to keep her around because she's not going to win anything from anyone.
Yeah,
So.
I guess it depends on if Christian and Gabby break up or not. I mean, the trailer for next week hinted.
I know that makes me sad.
Yeah, it would be a heartbreaking, a bit more heartbreaking. I know they're just friends on the island, but like heartbreaking in terms of friendship, it'd be heartbreaking to see that happen. It is really interesting, the numbers, and I find it very hard to get my head around where the vote will go next week. I almost think next week almost no one is safe.
Yeah.
Well, because they have to start thinking for themselves, not the groups so much.
So of the 4 Goliaths, we have Cara, Angelina, Allison, and Mike. Susan, who do you think has the best shot of winning from that group?
Well, I'm prejudiced because I like Mike. Because I love School of Rock, so I like having him around because he's a good commentator too, and everybody's foibles and quirks. So
he also had a target.
Tracy Fleck is good to me.
He had a huge target on his back coming in because he was on The Amazing Race for 2 seasons, and people saw him. And so the fact that he's made it this far, has he ever had a vote? I'm going to look real quick. I don't think anyone's ever even voted against this guy.
No one's ever mentioned him, and he's the least like challenge threat of all the Goliaths that are left in the game. So even if which I think is a big question about whether the Davids ever get back together after that last vote completely, but like he could be the last Goliath targeted, and if he gets to the end and has a story, like I almost see like Mike's path to the end, especially with his connection with Nick, could be the clearest.
Yeah.
He could offer them all roles in his next film. So.
Mike's never had a vote. Kara's never had a vote against her. Angelina has.
Yeah.
And who was the other one?
Nick hasn't had a vote. I know he's a guy, but the interesting thing is you had Nick and you had Mike, which I think the first episode, they were people that like people on both trusts going, oh, this Mike guy, this Nick guy, very sneaky. We need to try to take them out. And they've gotten to this point in the game. Neither of them have gotten any votes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, especially when you come into the game with this huge target on your back.
Yeah.
I think he could. If the finale's between Mike and Nick, I don't know who wins at that point. I think it's going to be a really close vote.
Yeah, I'd say I'd give Nick the edge in that scenario. But you don't know how those Goliaths will want to vote at the end. And Mike was someone who was Goliath strong. He did not backstab the Goliath, so he could get a lot of Goliath votes on that jury.
Yeah.
Christian could also win. I mean, Christian... Remember back in episode 1, it was like the first 10 minutes, he won that little challenge on the boat. And ever since then, I just feel like he's had this winner's edit that people like to talk about where, I mean, he is the season. Christian and Gabby, when you think of David versus Goliath, those are the 2 you think about.
Well, he's the most surprising, like with winning that horrible challenge in the sun and all that. He just hung in there. He found his safe zone by nattering away with whatever he was talking about. There's something about root growth. I don't know.
Yeah. I think Christian's got a great chance of winning. Like we've had so many episodes with people. So if he got to the end, because so many people have said how likable he is, and now he's the biggest threat in the game. If enough people are saying that on the island and on the show, there must be some truth to it. Like, you know, if everyone's saying, boy, Christian's going to win at the end, like, these are the jurors that are all talking. So I think there's like some, I think he's very appealing. I think, like, in some ways the players have overrated Christian a little bit the last couple of weeks, where, you know, going, well, until Christian makes some big moves and has a really compelling story, could people be overvaluing him? But he's such a likable guy. He's now with Gabby made a move, which we'll, I guess, have to see whether that angers people or not. But yeah, I think Christian, very likable guy. The social component of the game is such a big part of winning Survivor. If he's, I think his challenge will be getting to the end. If everyone thinks he's the most likely to win at the end, no one's going to want to take him to the end. So I think that's his real hurdle he needs to overcome, which is, you know, which is why this last vote will either be probably what gets him to the end or stops him from getting to the end, depending on how it pans out. Like, he could have been like doing Layla and go, well, if we end up with the last 5 Davids and you got Nick, Davey, and Carl, then vote me out at final 5. Although he's got an idol, so he couldn't get voted out at final 5 if he's been able to keep it. Yeah, like, which is again,
well, who's a physical threat anymore? Because Allison, I guess, is perceived as one, but yeah, are there any real ones left?
I'm looking through the list of who's left. None of them, you know,
they're all gonna fall over. Challenges.
Yeah,
medevac everybody.
So I'm looking at the official Gold Derby odds. These are odds created by, you know, our readers and people like you watching this. The person that we're predicting to win is Nick. The person we're predicting to go home next week is Davey. So there you go.
Well, you know, like, Davey's closest ally, Carl, was the blindsided at the last tribal. Yeah, I think that's not a bad call. Though you could easily see Angelina, who is on the wrong side of the numbers too, and not a David, get taken out if Christian and Gabby want to now go with a Goliath and go and get a Goliath.
But nobody's going to vote her to win at the end, so they'll keep her in. Because Davey's kind of sweet in his way. His nerdy way too.
If I was one of the final 8, I would keep Angelina in the game. I would bring her with me to the end because she's not going to get a single vote.
No. In fact, they'll take things away from her, like rice and comforts.
As long as she has a jacket, she's good.
Yeah, who got a jacket recently? Another one, a guy.
Davey got John's jacket after they blindsided John. Yeah,
it doesn't seem to be cold anymore there, so
right.
It's funny.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. Matt, you're coming to the finale in a couple weeks. Are you excited? This is your first finale.
I'm so excited. It's my first finale. I've been a student of the Survivor game, or a fan of the show since the first season in 99, 2000, whatever year that 2000, I think.
2001. 2001.
Yeah, I think it was 2000, the Borneo season. I was in 7th grade. And it just it's been, I think it's the greatest game alive. I love games. I love competitions. And I think it's the greatest game in the world. And it'll be great to be there at the final and break it down with you, Marcus. And, you know, you like go to the grand final. It's like going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
And Susan, we'll get you here one day to come to a finale.
I know. Oh my God, I'll faint. I want beer though and nachos.
Yeah. They give out little candies and like little Laffy Tappies and stuff.
Yeah.
Get your sugar.
Well, I recap Hell's Kitchen. I don't want to eat there though. I've seen what goes on in the kitchen way too much. So.
I was going to ask Marcus, do they ever, like, when you're getting to the final, go, here's some beer and nachos? If you want to not go into the final, you can sit here and eat some beer and nachos. You want to sit down.
Right. Okay. Well, it was fun.
Thanks, everyone.
Discussing.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right. Oh yeah, I pressed the stop button.